Hi guys, and welcome to Vesna TV. It's Vesna here. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're gonna get crafting right away because I'm creating 3 Christmas themed DIYs using Dollar Tree supplies for you today. For my first DIY, I'm going to be using this splatter screen and this little red truck from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start off with muting those gold colors on that say Merry Christmas because I did want to keep the Merry Christmas on there. So I'm just going to actually just color in over them with a black Sharpie. So it'll still have a little bit of that gold kind of coming through, but it won't be so shiny and so in your face. So I'm going to do that several times because the Sharpie doesn't quite stick to the glitter on the first try. So I just do it, I think around 2 or 3 times I go over the letters. So once I do that, I go ahead and spray paint my splatter screen. Now I'm going to be using spray paint for this, and as well I'm going to be using some brown paint. It's brown chalk paint from Art Minds. It's the espresso. So I'm going to be using both. I'm going to spray paint the splatter screen gold, and then I will go over top of it, just dry brush it a little bit, and I'll show you how I do that with the brown, but just so you can see which paints I used. And while that's drying, I'll move on to the next step. So the next step is to paint over the little red truck in some of that brown from Art Minds. And I'm doing this just again to give it that kind of more rustic farmhousey look. So I'm just dry brushing brown over top of the truck. And this is when I'm going to also dry brush around the splatter screen. It's pretty much dry now. So lately when I've been dry brushing, I always like to kind of blend the paint in using a baby wipe. I just really love the way the paint looks once I do that. So I've been doing that a lot and I've been really happy with the result. So that's what I'm doing here, that you can see me kind of wiping it off. So I add, I wipe off, I add, I wipe off. And I do this until I get the color that I'm looking for, the texture or whatever I'm doing, until I get like what I'm looking for. So then I go ahead and see what I'm going to put in the back of this truck. I thought I might use these Christmas trees, but then I decided that I think I'm going to just use my Christmas evergreen picks that I got from the Dollar Tree. This is why I got them, because I knew I could use them in different projects. So I wanted it to look like there was some greenery in the back of the pickup truck. So I'm just going to cut out some of these branches and use them on the back of the truck. And I'm going to just be hot gluing them onto the truck itself. So after I get the truck all done, then I go ahead and I glue it to the splatter screen. I want it to look like the truck is going up a hill. So that's how I glue it on the splatter screen. And I also add these little beads that I got from the Dollar Tree. I add them around the splatter screen so that way it just gives a little bit more detail to that splatter screen. And I wind up painting them in that espresso as well. But again, just kind of dry brushing over top of them. And that is it. So after I attached the beads, I didn't want the handle to be so obvious. And I was too nervous to cut it off. And I also like the fact that it had a little hole to hang it. So I thought it would be great if I wanted to hang it on a wreath hanger. So what I did was I created a little bow. Now I am not someone who's good at making bows just yet. I will get there. Never used to make them. So I kind of just did my own thing with the bows. This isn't really a tutorial for bows. So that's why I'm not slowing it down. I just kind of made little loops from this really cute little red truck ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree and this red ribbon. And then, like I said, I made loops. And then I just attached little longer parts for it to look like it was a bow. But again, it wasn't, I mean, some of the creators that you can watch. They make fabulous bows and they have great tutorials, and they're better people to watch for these tutorials. Mine is just simple. So if you want to know like a simple way that you can put together a bow without actually creating a fabulous bow, this is the way you do it. Just create a bunch of loops and then attach some longer pieces so it looks like the ribbon part of the bow is hanging off, and then you'll have a bow. I think it turned out really cute. And I may do it again because it was easy and it didn't use a ton of ribbon, and it did the trick. And so I added this thinner ribbon as well, just to give it a bit more depth and dimension, and that's it. So after attaching all of the ribbon and dry brushing the little beads, so basically adding all of the final touches, I was happy with the finished product, and here is what it came out to. I'm so happy with this cute little red truck DIY wreath. Super cute, super inexpensive, and really easy to make. Cost under $5, and even that's being generous because the ribbon I will have left over for other projects. So again, super cute, inexpensive, easy, and very farmhouse type of decor for Christmas. So guys, if you haven't been to my channel before, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Vesna, as I said at the beginning of the video. On my channel, I do tons of different DIYs, trash to treasures, thrift flips, holiday themed decors, Dollar Tree DIYs, any of that kind of stuff I do. So, and I usually try to stick to a very good budget and try to stick to farmhouse type of decor. So if that's what you like, you stick around, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you can get notified of my new videos. So guys, I'm super excited today because I'm taking part of Heidi Sonboul's Friend Friday Hop. It is a hop, meaning that I will, instead of having a playlist, I'm going to direct you to the next person's channel, but I'm not telling you who that next person is. It's a surprise. I will have that person's video linked in my description. So what you're going to do is once you finish watching my video, you're going to head on to my description and head on to the next person's video. And it's really cool because it's all these creative ladies that are making a whole bunch of Christmas themed DIYs. So it's going to be super fun to watch. So make sure you check out the next person's video. So my next DIY is a lot of fun as well. Really, you only need a few things. You need this cane. Then you need this plaid tree skirt, all from the Dollar Tree. The cane is one of those wreath metal frames. And you're going to need some ribbon for your bow and some hot glue. Again, another really easy, and some scissors obviously, but again, another really easy DIY and very inexpensive. So before I start cutting, I want to start my cane, and I want it to start with the little white fur at the bottom, or at the top of the cane, actually at the top and bottom of the cane. And then I hot glue it there in place, and then I see where I can cut. So I'm using the least amount of material possible. I will make this small tree skirt last me the entire, it'll cover the entire cane, and that was my goal. I don't like to waste anything, so this was a great way of putting it together. And I just make sure that I'm gluing it right at the edge, like kind of overlapping over a little bit so that it doesn't show if you're hanging it up, so it looks like it's wrapped all the way around, but in fact I'm not wrapping the back. Then I follow that same pattern all around the cane, where I cut what I need, then I glue what I need, and then I cut it again. So I'm not cutting before I glue a piece down because I was afraid that I would cut and not have enough. So that's why I didn't cut right away, and it worked out really, really well. So here I'm just showing you how I'm wrapping it around just a little bit so it doesn't show, like I said, when you're hanging it up, so it looks like it's wrapped all the way around. I will play some music for you guys so you can enjoy, so that you guys can watch what I'm doing without listening to me talk. So one more quick thing, where you can see where I'm joining the fabrics together, I do a straight fold so that way the seam isn't so visible, and it's right around the curve so it looks like it was a part of the cane in the first place, but I will also be adding a bow there so it won't be as visible. So I'm a little bit more generous with my fabric at the finish here because I want to make sure that I'm covering everything, and I want to make sure that the little bottom part is attached to my fabric so that way the fur is also at the bottom of the cane. So here's what I'm talking about. I'll just overlap everything here, and it'll be actually just a little bit past the bottom of the cane, the little fur, but that is okay because I need it to be at the bottom. I wanted to have a nice little finish there. And then I wind up adding bows. Again, like I said in the other part, this will not be a bow tutorial, but I attempted to make a proper bow with this one, and I think I did a pretty good job. So here's the bow that I made. Like I said, I didn't record myself making it because it took me a really long time to make it, and I don't think anyone would have wanted to see me fumble through that. So once I get better at these bows, I will do a tutorial, but I didn't think I had any business doing one since I'm still learning. So I'm deciding whether I'm going to add which of these little red trucks I'm going to add to my bow to complete my cane wreath. And I've decided I'm going to I'm going to add the bigger red truck that says Merry Christmas. And I'm just going to hot glue my bow to the cane, and then I will hot glue the little red truck, and that'll bring this DIY to an end. So here's the completed cane wreath, and again, I'm super happy with the way it turned out. I think it's very, very cute. It'll again be a beautiful addition to my decor, and super inexpensive. Again, I'm using that same ribbon that I used for the first DIY, and that ribbon is going a long way, and it looks super cute. So I'm also super excited about this friend hop because we've all come together to give back to our viewers, and we will select one lucky viewer and give them a $200 Amazon gift card. All you guys have to do is leave a comment in all of our videos, just letting us know what you thought of the DIYs that we made. But it has to be in all of our videos, and we'll be selecting the winner on Friday. We'll be announcing the winner on Friday morning. So make sure you come back to my channel to look at the video where I announce the winner. And good luck to everyone. So for my last DIY, I will be using another 3 grease splatter screens, as well as some floral wire, some white spray paint. And then you just need some sort of block. It could be a wood block, it could be anything, just for your base. This, I had a scrap piece of wood, but I mean, if you didn't have a scrap piece of wood, you could use You could even use a book and hot glue it to a book, like a heavier book, because you can get books at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 and they're hardcover books. It's really anything that you can attach these splatter screens to. I just happen to have scrap pieces of wood at home, so that's what I used. What I do then is I bend these splatter screens um, down so that I can attach them to my piece of wood. And I do it with the two ones that I'm using for the base. The third one I'm using for the top, so you don't need to bend that one. And then as I'm doing this, I realized this little piece of wood is too small, so I wound up using a bigger piece of wood. So just keep that in mind. You want to make sure that your piece of wood is big enough, long enough, and wide enough, or whatever you're using, so that way you can either hot glue it. I wound up screwing these in because screws work better than hot glue in terms of keeping it sticking longer. So I wound up getting my husband to help me screw them down so that way I could make sure that they stay there for good. And then I wind up spray painting them white. Before I spray paint, I want to make sure I attach all the splatter screens together and then screw them in as well. So I'm just attaching them. This is where your floral wire comes in. I'm just attaching them with the floral wire. The base screens first and then the top screen. I'm measuring to see whether they'll fit on my block. And then I'm also measuring to see whether I like the way that looks as a snowman. So this is kind of to your liking. This was my measurements were. So if you want to make one exactly like mine, I did 6 inches apart. So just so that you're aware, but that's how I did mine. So, but you can do yours however you'd like. Once I attach my screens, I quickly realize it won't work with my small block. So I go ahead and I just grab another piece of wood that I had. I believe this is from some sort of shelving or something that we had, or I don't even know. It was just a scrap piece of wood that I found in my husband's workshop. So I'm going to hold it down while he screws it down. As you can see, it's as wide as the snowman, and it'll actually even look better in the long run. So if you used one of those books from the Dollar Tree, the bigger hardcover books, it would hold it down and you could glue it down as well. So really, just because I used a block of wood and you don't have one, you don't have to go out and buy a block of wood. You can just use something like that, and obviously not screw it in, just hot glue it together. And if you don't have white spray paint or the gold spray paint like in the previous project, you can always just use acrylic paint. I just found it to be easier with spray painting. I didn't record the spray painting because that's pretty self-explanatory. I've done lots of spray paint tutorials as well, so if you want to see that, you can see it on a different video. Just for the sake of time, I didn't want this video to be too long. Once that's done, I just go ahead and I have this little sock from the Dollar Tree. It was a pair of socks that I got. One sock I'll use for another DIY, and then this one I'll just use, I'll cut it down so that it makes one long piece, and then I cut it in the middle to make 2 pieces so I can make a nice little scarf for my snowman. And then I use some black cardstock from the Dollar Tree for his buttons, and then a piece of felt that I had, but you can get these at the Dollar Tree as well, in orange for his nose, and the black cardstock I use for his eyes as well as his mouth. You could do buttons. I just didn't have enough buttons, and I believe the Dollar Tree has buttons for sewing and stuff, so you could always use those, but this is what I chose to use. I also used that cardstock to make a top hat for the snowman. So one sheet gave me all of this. One black sheet gave me enough. It was enough for the hat, the nose, the mouth. The hat, the mouth, and the buttons. So I wound up adding some boxwood to the scarf as well as some tissue paper to the base of the snowman, and I painted around the base in white just because for some reason the paint didn't stick. You could use acrylic. I used chalk paint, and I attached the hat as well as some of the leftover red ribbon to the hat and another little piece of greenery to complete my snowman. Here is the finished snowman. I think he is super cute, fairly inexpensive to make, and super easy to make. If you enjoyed my DIYs, make sure you leave me a comment below. If you want to see more, you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can see all of my videos. And also make sure you hop on over to our next friend. Their video will be linked in my description below. Make sure you check out their video and leave them a comment. Thanks for stopping by. Have an excellent day and stay safe, everyone.